G'day, Adam Grocke from Johnston Grocke here with Andrew Brown, one of our chartered accountants, here to talk about land tax, which is a hot issue at the moment with what the Liberal government is looking to change and implement. So, Andy, just a few questions for you because there's a lot of information in the media, some that may not be correct, and also there's a lot of assumptions because nothing's actually set yet, which means that we've got to be careful that all the information we're providing now is on the level of detail we have, and it's not fully scoped at this stage, so it can change. But essentially, what are they proposing?
Essentially proposing that land tax properties, or properties subject to land tax, will be grouped from 1 July 2020, whereas people in the past used to have entities to own properties and have assessed land tax separately. But the state government's looking to consolidate that and group them to provide a better level of land tax, in other words, more revenue for the state government. That's their proposal from 1 July 2020.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just to clarify that, so if we owned a property in a trust, that property held or owned in that trust would be subject to land tax individually assessed.
Correct.
And then if we had another trust, that would be individually assessed as well. So we can reduce our land tax.
Correct. Because
it goes on the threshold. So the aggregation of the land increases your threshold or your value of that land.
Correct. That's what they're looking to do, to go through, to have a look-through test, look at all the entities, who's actually standing behind those entities, and aggregate them that way. Now, the detail behind that hasn't been fleshed out in full yet. It's a work in progress. The devil's in the detail. We'll find out more as we go along.
Yeah, absolutely. So the key there is that the way that trusts are being used at the moment may not be effective, because it's going to come back to who sits behind it as an individual, and then that's where the aggregation may occur.
Perhaps. I think, and there's more entities besides trusts. There's companies and super funds, etc., other kind of entities.
Yep.
So I guess the message in all this is developing a strategy of people who have property, extensive property holdings, is to, especially when you're looking to acquire further property, is to get advice on the strategy and what type of structure and how that's put together, and also the existing structures, and who's behind those existing structures and how they may be amended to solve land tax issues.
Okay. When does it come into effect?
Appears from 1 July 2020, then it's going to start to put it in. But it's supposed to be shaded, the theory is they're going to be shading out and reducing them over time. But 1 July 2020 is the start date.
Okay. Are there any benefits to this change?
Overall, the theory is that that land tax overall is going to be reduced, but there's been a lot of media discussion and industry players talking that that's not going to be the case. I think, like everything, the devil will be in the detail when it finally comes out. Yeah,
okay. I mean, some of the numbers I've been looking at is that really the top end's getting a bit of a decrease in the percentage. However, the aggregation for everyone that's been separating on individual levels through different structures, if they're aggregated across 5 or 6 or 7 different properties, they're probably most likely, under the current proposed changes, to be hurt the most from this.
It appears to be so, and that's why people are up in arms a little bit about their own future investment plans, and have been put on hold or stymied, or whatever you want to call it. But again, this is why strategy is really, really important, and important to be looking forward in the strategy. If you're going to buy a new property, but also with current stuff, being able to be flexible and being able to change if you need to within the boundaries that you've got.
Yeah, absolutely.
In your structure.
Now, I know you've been developing, and the accounting team here has been developing some strategies already, assuming what these proposals will be, and we do need the granular detail to be finalised before we can work with clients with that. But if you have got any concerns, if you've got any questions, if you're thinking that you need to fire sale your properties and get them all sold before that time, look, don't do anything now.
Absolutely.
Let's wait until we see what it looks like. And you're already ahead of the curve and looking at some strategies, and have potentially got some strategies that can help some clients minimise their land tax moving forward. Cool. If you've got any questions, let us know. Happy to have a phone conversation, face to face, and work through it with you. Cheers.